No, it's almost like I forgot that this I do. Almost like I forgot that this is something that I... Oh, man. Almost. I went away. Almost like I went away. But no. I'm back. I don't know. Hard is like, I was... Last week I fucked it up by not realizing I've broken my production. All gone. What if I just turn off... What if I just willingly turn off my noise gate? Because I actually broke the entirety of my audio production and I had to remake it. Yeah, I'll just turn off my noise gate for a little bit. I'll turn down the gain a little bit too. I see I'm kind of close to peaking a little bit. What about 23 decibels of gain? So I've had to rebuild my entire audio production because apparently I ran into one of those legendary issues that I keep telling. It's like, oh yeah, you should use Linux, and then things happen like OBS deciding not to play well with Pipewire if you want to use jack input. So it just decides, hey, why not? I'm just gonna crash whenever Spotify changes song on you. Because that's a thing that can just happen. But yeah, I've been gone for a little bit. What has everybody else been up to? I see Maple's already here. I see Mystic's here. Do appreciate both of you stopping by. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. I decided to load up my dev window because I might do some dev, I might not. I honestly don't know at this point. Part of me thinks it's like, well, I may even want to play some video games, but for now, you just get to look at my Scarbot dev window while I do nothing to it, and I just sit here and chat, and I provide filler and not know exactly what to say, other than providing minor updates on my whereabouts the past several weeks. Some of you probably were aware. I was, there's been multiple reasons I've been gone. But it is good to be back. So it started off with, you know, we did the Final Fantasy stuff. The Final Fantasy stuff was great. Finished off the main story quest, got that done. Done and dusted. Everything's all good. I still have some like lingering misgivings about that game, about that story. I'm kind of asking around some other friends of mine who run in other circles, trying to weasel my way into maybe like finding an organized method to getting these thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV out. Because it would be real fun, I think. But then again, maybe that's... Then again, you know, maybe that's just... We'd just be another voice in the wind of discontent about the Dawn Trail story. It's been kind of wild. It was kind of wacky. It was fun. And then, you know, because of Dawn Trail, I had decided to kind of like, okay, I cut back just a touch. I cut back slightly on activity into like Twitch and YouTube. I was doing the multi-streaming thing for quite a while. And let's see if is YouTube chat running? Hi YouTube. Let's see if that's actually running now, since I'm seeing notifications that Botrix... Oh, it is. Hello. Hey. I was doing multi-streaming. For some reason, when Final Fantasy XIV came... when Dawn Trail came out, I decided... You know, if I'm going to stream Final Fantasy XIV, I should probably just stream to Twitch for a while. I was noticing... encoding the stream twice, because I send a very high quality video feed to YouTube, and then everything else gets the Twitch maximum, which is 6,000, which is a bitrate of 6,000. I forget whether that's kilobits a second or megabits a second. Probably kilobits a second. But that's the Twitch maximum, and they don't like when you send any more. So I say, you know what? I'll just send that to everywhere else. I'll send it to Twitch. I'll send it to I think it's Kick is the other site, and my brain is not really working. Just all kinds of fun. Item having my new multi-stream plugin out. I did notice that. And it looks really good. And then I clicked on a button that says download for Linux, and they're like, nope, fuck you. Gave me a big old middle finger and said, we're planning on it, but not today. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just wait for that then, see what happens. For now, I'm just going to use the multi-RTMP plugin from... I don't know who that is. I think he's Japanese. He may be Chinese. I am not too certain, because there's a lot of using that font that tells me someone was typing on a keyboard that ostensibly does English, but it's not necessarily a font. They're using a different Unicode altogether, but it's coming out as English. So it's like, oh, okay. That's a little odd, but hey. And I think the GitHub is all in Japanese or Chinese. Could be either or. And that's not me knowing the difference. That's not me not knowing the difference. That's me not remembering. Because I'm that kind of guy who will forget things. But yeah, I've been gone for a minute. So it started with me playing Final Fantasy XIV, the MSQ. Started with that, and then after a little bit of time, I tried to go back to multi-streaming, and then I noticed that I'd broken my production in ways I forget at this point. I remember DMing someone about it, or maybe I sent out a tweet about it. I think it was Win. Win had said something to me. Win did. He goes, oh, hey. Oh, yeah. I put it in Discord. I broke production setup because I updated OPS. That's right. I updated OBS. Funny enough, I bought a Stream Deck pretty recently. I've been avoiding that for God knows how long, because it's like, well, if I'm gonna spend money, I'm probably gonna spend money on hardware that doesn't rely on vendor software that isn't gonna run in Linux. But you know, push comes to shove, there's software solutions out there on Linux to get a Stream Deck to run. So I download Stream Deck UI. Stream Deck UI is the program I use. There's also a program out there called Boatswain. Boatswain ran into some problems connecting to OBS. Apparently, Boatswain is using an outdated version of the OBS WebSocket API, and so Boatswain can't actually connect. I started running into weird issues. But I figured, well, I've only got a week to QuakeCon. I'll just skip this week, go to QuakeCon, do whatever's at QuakeCon, and then come back to start streaming again. And you know what? That'd be a great time. Everybody's gonna have fun. Everybody's just gonna have a great time. We're all just gonna write code together again, and then. So I go to QuakeCon. And I have a fantastic time. I haven't seen a lot of my friends out in decades. There was a weird, kind of strange air about QuakeCon, however. It was ever so slightly unfortunate. There was no actual official tournament for QuakeCon. They'd actually moved back to Quake Live to an unusual format. It was 2v2 freeze tag. And the BYOC was still incredible, but people were hoping and expecting that maybe finally we get Quake 6 and Quake Champions can kind of finally be laid to rest. It tried its best. It never found it came out, it did okay for a while, and you know, I'll tell you, I had fun playing it. But after a while, the tech issues became more and more apparent. The audio engine just couldn't handle it. And then the competitive scene tried to keep it afloat for a while, but after this year, I think it's time to properly lay Quake Champions to rest. And so we thought, oh, well, Quake Champions is not going to be at QuakeCon. Maybe we get Quake 6, and we didn't even get that. Now, that is a slightly negative air about it, because that is something I was hoping for. I didn't get exactly the thing I wanted, but what I did have was a chance to meet some friends I hadn't seen in well over a decade. Some people I'd unfortunately gotten to the point where I wasn't leaving them unread. Just messages weren't even exchanging at all. I caught up again with these people. Learned that a good friend of mine, Jahar, has actually turned himself into a game developer. That was some news to hear, and he's been out there doing it. And I looked into his game. It's called Midnight Guns. Not 100% my flavor for how I like to do FPS, but it is some good fun. And every now and then I'll jump into their Discord events and play some Midnight Guns. And that game has been doing that game is kind of coming along. It's got some neat stuff going on. If you've ever played like Action Quake 2, a Quake 2 mod that well, I'm kind of going against Jahar's wishes by describing it in this way, because he's taken the marketing theory of like, don't compare it to games barely anyone's played anyway. What he likes to call it, don't tell people it's got weird movement physics, like Quakey movement physics. Just tell them it's kind of like Counter-Strike's weird cousin, who took too much, who should really get on Adderall. And I think that's a good descriptor of Midnight Guns. It's like Counter-Strike's weird cousin. It's great fun, and I got to see all of those people again. Unfortunately, on the last day, Jahar decided he was going to be holding an after party for QuakeCon at his house. And then by the time I get back to my hotel room and I start packing for the after party, I get the notification that a couple people had popped hot for COVID. It's like, oh, that's rough to hear, and there might be a good reason to just isolate and not head to this after party. So, little bit of a downer at the very, very end. But yeah, it was good to get back into that scene. It was really good to get back into that scene and just for a week, turn myself into the degenerate gamer that I used to be. And that I just dropped something. And still on some level kind of am. Realizing that I'd kind of fallen into a hole with Final Fantasy XIV for the longest time. And it was pretty much the only game I'd been playing. I'd been neglecting Quake, I'd been neglecting Street Fighter, which are really some of my favorite gaming pastimes. I'd been letting them fall by the wayside in order to just keep playing Final Fantasy. And I don't necessarily regret any of my Final Fantasy XIV stuff. I met some amazing people, got to know some greats, some awesome people, especially in my little guild, in my little free company. Those of you who were watching the Final Fantasy XIV streams, you got to see me interact a little bit with the Foul Play Free company. That was some good times. I don't know how much I'm going to be playing Final Fantasy XIV in the future because I've realized, I've gotten past the MSQ a little bit, and now that I'm done with the MSQ, and after QuakeCon, where I spent a good week or two not being able to play Final Fantasy XIV, I kind of turn it on. I'll log in for like 15 minutes, and I'll think about queuing up for some dungeons. And then I'll just say, you know what? Nah, maybe next time. Then I'll turn Final Fantasy XIV off. And I don't want to leave my Final Fantasy XIV friends on red, but just kind of not been in the mood for a lot of Final Fantasy lately. Trying to pick up some pieces of where I was, the things I was doing for QuakeCon. But QuakeCon, back to the BYOC, that was a great time. A lot of midnight guns. There was a dedicated crew, mostly led by Jahar and his Tasty Spleen crew, where we called ourselves the Quake at QuakeCon crew. So every few hours they would launch a server to a different Quake game, and then I'd have to go find out how to download it and run it. There was Midnight Guns. There was, what was that one? What's that one game that came out pretty recently? I completely forget that game. Wait, why is Steam? I guess Steam crashed. There was a game. Death something? Let me see if I can look it up on my Steam history. That I was in the beta for the longest time. What's in my recently played? Can I look at my profile? Games. Sort by recent. Okay, so Midnight Guns, Quake Live. I tried playing EX Zodiac, couldn't get that to run on the Steam Deck. Let's see, there's Pal World. Wow, am I really not finding it here? Okay, Octopath. No, I'm scrolling and I'm not finding. Can I search by shooters? Well, it's another thing. So there was a lot of Quake 2. There was a lot of Midnight Guns. There was some Quake Live. And then I've managed to find myself, I found myself wandering the BYOC quite often. Trying to play some Street Fighter 6. Or some, I saw a lot of people playing Tekken. I kind of avoided the Tekken bits. Just a little bit. But I found like a good couple dedicated spots where a lot of Street Fighter ended up getting played, and got me in some sets on that. And man, I've got a lot of hunger for Street Fighter again. I actually just played some ranked, a lot of ranked Street Fighter, sitting at my spot in the BYOC. Man, and I hadn't played since they deployed the new balance patch. Probably the most intriguing thing about that balance patch was noticing that now that Kim has access to her her EX Izuna drop right out of the heavy elbow. Oh man, that opens up so many options. I feel so free as Kimberly now. So I've got a good bit of hunger for Street Fighter back. Street Fighter, you may end up over the course of the next couple months, if I start streaming with a little bit more activity again, you may start seeing Street Fighter pop up in places. Maybe some Street Fighter, maybe some Quake if I can find it in me. But yeah. Hang on, I'm actually sending out a tweet because I'm just now realizing I never sent out a tweet notification that I'm going live. Have no idea what I'm doing. Not just yap about where I've been. So, anyone who's been keeping track of my Twitter knows I've also been worrying is a bit much, but focusing on my health a little bit. Giving up some regular gym updates. Oh man, QuakeCon was hell on my health. I've been on a little bit of a weight loss kick. The weight loss thing has been going well. Like technically I'm down 50 pounds since March, but I was down 50 pounds since March back in July. And let me tell you, the QuakeCon diet is something I survived rather than just lived off of. So it's been very fascinating, just like having it in my head that, oh hey, going an entire week where my diet was functionally, literally just pizza, energy drinks, and concession stand nachos. Probably not the best idea. Get home and realize I had actually gained 10 pounds over the course of that week. And man, that was that was rough. That's, for me, the way I've been going, that's an entire month of progress just out the window. Just absolutely gone. So, ooh, wait a minute, what's this? I've actually got Twitter open right now. And it looks like someone has designed a custom arcade stick button. Called them the FROG. Let me bookmark that. Might need to keep an eye out for what's going on here. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, I need to take a drink. It's been a minute. So, an entire week of pizza, energy drinks, and concession stand nachos is certainly a way to survive QuakeCon. Probably not the best. I'm going to go ahead and link my tweet in the chat if anyone wants to do some interaction with that, get that in front of an algorithm. Would very, very much appreciate it. Oh, man. So a lot of Street Fighter. You know, during downtime, I actually took on some Factorio. Worked on the space exploration mod. In fact, when is Factorio? Factorio. So Factorio Space Age should be coming out pretty soon, shouldn't it? When is Factorio Space Age coming out? Factorio Space Age. October 21st, Factorio Space Age. You might actually see that on the channel then. Might start up a new factory, might start up a new session for that. Might be a good time. I think that's kind of where I'm headed. Get a new factory up and running. I want to see what those like layered trains end up doing. Cause man, the idea of elevated trains and underground trains, that's gonna be some wild shit. Although I wonder how, actually, are there underground trains? I know there's elevated trains. Gonna have all kinds of wild shit happening. Planets where solar doesn't work, so you actually have to deliver energy. Oh man, this looks like it's gonna be a good time. A good time for precisely me and probably no one else. But that's why I'm doing it, not you. Go ahead and add. Yeah, let's go ahead and add it to the wish list. Remind me once the game is coming out. Oh man, but yeah, back to the fitness stuff. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself. If I am allowed to have a little bit of a flex, I am. It took a month to lose that 10 pounds at first. Then once I went to QuakeCon, it took me a week to gain it all back. You know, the QuakeCon diet, pizza, energy drinks, and concession stand nachos. I got back and I realized, well, you know, I got off the horse. I got thrown off of my health plan and my diet for a week. But there's no sense in staying off of it. I was doing well before, and there's no reason I can't do well after. So I opened Chronometer again. That's the app I've been using to track calories. And made sure to start tracking calories all over again. Made sure I'm keeping track of what I'm eating, making sure I'm staying in good macros, staying within what I need to, and then, you know, after the second week, which, you know, we'll get into the second week and the activities there. Just got right back into the gym with my trainer, and I'm putting updates on that out on Twitter, in Discord. If you want to see my paltry lift logs, they will be hard to miss. Still got a weak-ass bench of, like, it's either 95. Now, he recorded it as 95. I'm pretty sure that was 135. I am pretty sure those plates said 45 on them when he put them on. And then the bar, I'm pretty sure the bar is 55 pounds. How much is the bar? How much does an Olympic bar weigh? 45 pounds. So 45 plus 45 plus 45, 135. I'm pretty sure my bench is 135, which is not great, but it is improving. Getting some strength training in. making sure that the weight I do lose is fat rather than muscle. Hoping that goes forward. Oh man, what else is there? And oh yeah, the question as to whether or not I've been successful in my return back. I'm actually back down to an all-time low. The 10 pounds I gained at QuakeCon is already back off within about a week and a half of actual training. So, hooray for me. Have a little bit of a flex that I'm doing well now that I'm back. So, you know, just sticking to my journey. Thank you for that, Majin. Other things, you know, once I got back from QuakeCon, I still didn't stream for another week because my aunt actually came into town, and you know, I figured I'd show her Chicago and see what was up with you know, show her a little bit of the city life. She's still from back East Texas way, in a little bit of a countryside. So, you know, we kind of winged it a little bit. Took her to see some sights in Chicago. I think we started, day one, I picked her up from the airport and we went home, and she'd been on the airplane all day, so we just sat and watched Netflix. And I need to go cancel Netflix, I think. Because, man, I came to a realization when I was picking her up. It's, hey, if we stay home for a day, I don't have a way here at my house to actually entertain guests unless they play video games. I don't have cable TV. I'm a YouTube and Twitch guy. You could theoretically watch YouTube. And the things I watch on YouTube and Twitch, like, they're not like entertain guests kind of stuff. So got a Netflix subscription, and so my aunt and I watched like a couple movies before it was time for bed. It was a good time. But somebody needs to remind me. I'm gonna hold it to everybody in chat. Y'all need to remind me I need to cancel my subscription to Netflix. Now that I'm kind of done with it. Here in the next couple days or so. Once I'm done with... once that was done, we went to the Field Museum, which is kind of like a natural history thing. Field Museum was great fun. We got... they're doing a... I'll just copy the Field Museum here in a chat. They're doing a couple big exhibits these past few months. They did one on blood feeding, which was, you know, somehow there's a couple animals out there that, even though we think of vampires as fully fiction, there's a couple critters out there that have in fact evolved to consume blood of other animals. You know, we think of leeches, we think of mosquitoes, there's some bats, there's some species of fly, I think they call them horse flies, there's lampreys. So there's all kinds of like here's the skeleton. They showed like the skeletal structure of a lamprey, and it's fucking huge, and it was terrifying because it's like a beak, and it like tears into the skin of the animal it's latched onto, and then it just applies a sucking motion to pull blood out. And, you know, they figured out like, okay, well, here's all the different species oh, my arm hurts. I just swung my arm over my own head, and I just felt a lot of pain in my bicep. Oh, man. So there's, you know, like a lot of exhibits, a lot of details, and a lot of stuff on like not only like how and why they feed, like what nutrients are they getting. That's not important. Okay, what nutrients are they getting, but how do they find not human, but not necessarily other species that bleed and other species that have blood, and it's the kind of blood that they're looking for, and it's like, oh, well, this one actually just has infrared detection. It can actually detect the heat coming off of you and the other animals, and it's like, oh, it's that kind of heat that I like, so I'm gonna go bite that thing and suck its blood. There's, you know, bats that have I think I want to say, I may be misremembering, but I think there's a species of bat that can just smell cow shit because they drink the blood of cows, and they figure out where the cow is because they've learned to detect a specific smell of cow shit, which wouldn't surprise me because that smell is pretty distinct. Having not often, but been around cows a couple times in my life. Been around cattle ranches. There is a pretty distinct odor. Hard to describe. Oh, excuse me. All different kinds of directions I could go with this. But yeah, Field Museum was day one. She was my aunt was... She enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I actually had really not eaten all that much that day, and I actually was like by the time we were like halfway done, I was kind of ready to. I was starting to feel loopy, not just tired, but not just fatigued, but like that level of loopy where it's like I need to either lay down or eat something. So unfortunately, due to my dumbass, we did have to call the Field Museum early. On that day, the thing we did, because not only I would give her like exhibit scenery, and then also something to eat that's famous. It's kind of like famous in Chicago for things that you eat. Day one was actually just Netflix, and we ordered a Chicago deep dish with sausage. And oh man, that was actually some good stuff. If you've ever heard of Lou Malnati's, I know that the big famous brand is Giordano's. If you ever want to order specifically a Chicago deep dish outside of Chicago, there's the Giordano's brand. But over here we also have Lou Malnati's. And that stuff was good. It had been a while since I'd had a Chicago deep dish, but day two, you know, after we were done with the Field Museum, we both went back to the house, had a nap. You know, I put her up in my bed and I slept on the couch for a little bit. And a kind of secretly lesser known pizza variation that you see out of Chicago is called the tavern style, which is a very thin crust, a very, very thin crust, almost crackery. And it's actually I actually prefer tavern thin over the Chicago deep dish. And so I took her out to a place I won't name, mostly because it is mostly out of not wanting to dox myself, because it was very local. It's like within just like 2 or 3 blocks of here. And oh man, it's some good old-fashioned Chicago tavern thin. We got the meat lovers, and for an entree, for more of an appetizer, we got some pulled pork nachos. Probably the best nachos I've ever had in my entire life. Let's see, what else was there? There's so my aunt is actually grew up, when she went to college, she actually went for art. So Art Institute of Chicago. That was sort of our day 3. Not the School of. I just want the Art Institute of Chicago. Here we go. So there's the Art Institute of Chicago. I'll send that to the YouTube people as well. Put that in YouTube chat. She was really, really eager to try and see if we could get to watch to see if we could find some Van Gogh. Unfortunately, Van Gogh, there was an exhibit on Van Gogh like late last year, but that closed down in 2023. So the only exhibit, I mean, besides the normal, like here's the general stuff you can see in the art museum. Here's, you know, here's like, oh, here's Renaissance, here's Impressionism. You know, go through that, go through a lot of art history. She was really fond of the artist Vincent van Gogh, and we found basically they had one room with Van Gogh in it, and got a whole bunch of pictures of her next to a bunch of Van Gogh art. We ran into the exhibit they were running on a artist named Georgia O'Keeffe. And Georgia O'Keeffe, there's a lot of sort of like minimalist art. Where is... Let me make sure that nothing here is too incriminating. Maybe I'll just pull up. Let's see, pull that window up. Yeah. How about we just grab that? Oh, hello. So we've got Georgia O'Keeffe. Has a lot of sort of minimalist city night kind of stuff, and got introduced to her. She did a lot of poetry. So she was around like, let me zoom in on this so you guys can read it rather than just me. So New York's would turn the world over, and can I... So September 22nd, 2024. Oh, that's when the exhibit ends. So when did Georgia O'Keeffe? Is she still alive, or I don't know, but like this seemed really cool. Like I'm actually, now that I'm looking at it again, I'm kind of reminded of, if anyone ever watched the Batman cartoon, the Batman the Animated Series, where there's a very industrial kind of look to it. Oh, no, hang on. Let's get that out of there. No? There we go. Let's get rid of this. There we go. You know, and you know, Gotham City was always meant to be a very Chicago-like place, or a very, sometimes New York-like place. This is the first time I've ever seen an artist and kind of wanted to look to see if I could get prints. Like, especially this stuff here. Like the city night, the Radiator building, like this stuff looks really nice. I kind of, there's a part of me wanting to get a couple of these pieces, like the city night or the Radiator building. Is there a rotation through here? No. Is it loading? Yes, it is. Okay. And man, it's really good. I'm tempted to go and track some of these pieces down to hang up in my living room, because my living room is still a little bit empty. All it has is the couch and the... Sorry, all I have right now is the couch and the TV, which, you know, sometimes minimalism is great, but when there's not, it does start to feel a little bit empty. I may end up grabbing some of this stuff. It should be a good time. But yeah, my aunt really fell in love with a lot of the Van Gogh stuff. she got pictures of pretty much every piece of art that she could find, but then she got pictures. She got me to take pictures of her next to all the Van Goghs that we found. But we had to move fast because it's like, oh, we can't take up too much time, and I can't let you just. We can't just hog the entirety of the space around this piece of Van Gogh art for you to get this picture. So we had to kind of like move quick. But that was a good time. I'm gonna definitely look into Georgia O'Keeffe a little bit more and see what's up with her. Let's see what we need to bring back this. Let's see, what else is there? There was, after the Art Institute, was the Art Institute when we got the Italian beef? No, that's not when we got the Italian beef. We went to Portillo's. That's right. Portillo's. So, we got the classic Chicago hot dog. Got to let her experience, where is it, locations. I don't want to click on any links that maybe go to map screens, which could end up showing addresses, because, you know, that's the internet. You don't want to show that off too much. I'm kind of looking, but yeah, the Chicago hot dog, a classic. She got the hot dog and a chili cheese dog. The thing is, I'm Texan. My aunt is Texan. She grew up in Ohio, but she's spent a majority of her life in Texas, raising her kids, and, you know, and I got raised by my mom in Texas. We're Texans. We are very particular. Oh, Jesus. We are very particular about our chili. Chili wasn't so great, but the Chicago dog, you know what? Quality. Perfect. Couldn't be better. There is something we worry about, which is they use a relish, and it is that relish is a very vibrant green. It is green. It is my logo green. It's not what you would think with, like, oh, here's the pickle, and that's a color of green that I'm used to seeing, is that pickle occurring in nature. With this, with this relish here, I'm not too certain. But all that said, you know, the celery salt, the mustard, the relish, the celery salt. I got mine without onions, because fuck onions, hate them. Just, you know, don't come at me with raw onion. I hate. It's a blight upon mankind. But yeah, chili cheese dog, slightly disappointing. Because, you know, if you're gonna come at me with chili, sorry, not cheese. If you're gonna come at me with chili, understand that you're going up against a Texan, and Texans are particular about their chili. And Portillo's didn't quite measure up on the chili. But the Chicago dog, which is the Chicago classic, was very on point. And so let's get rid of that window for just a second as I Google the next place I took my aunt, which was, is there a website for this? There is. So let's bring the window back up and talk about the Sky Deck, which, yes, that there is a piece of scenery in Chicago, which is just straight up a box that you sit in with a glass floor, and you get to look out on the entire city skyline. And I don't know why this woman thought it was okay to jump. I'm sure she's alive, and I'm sure she's happy and healthy. But I would not trust a glass floor with my big ass jumping up and down. So, got us a little tour of the scenery. up there in the sky deck. Showed her the glass bridge in Asia. Yep, and I've seen the videos of that with the dogs who absolutely motherfucking refuse to walk on that glass bridge because they don't because they don't have any concept of what glass is, that you can see through it, but it's still like a solid material. Those were fun videos. But yeah, just like got her up into the sky deck. It's the 103rd floor on the Sears Tower. It's technically, strictly speaking, called the Willis Tower now, but this is Chicago, and I'm not trying to get stabbed. It's the Sears Tower. So, got to see all of that. Got to show her like the entire city skyline. We got to the north box, and I told her like somewhere off in the distance is the northern direction. We couldn't see it from there, but I could definitely point to. So it's probably right around in this little area right in here is my house. But yeah, there's definitely... Oh, she's nice looking. I didn't know they had pictures of, like, the outside. You could get pictures like that from that angle. That's wild. So then there's, he looks like he's having a good time. Oh, these are, like, Instagram people? Okay. So that was actually probably my favorite exhibit because I live the cave troll lifestyle. By the way, I don't think I welcomed you in, Winded. Appreciate you stopping by. Welcome in. I do hope you're having a good day, and thank you for showing up on my first stream back after actually finally fixing my production issues. After fixing my production issues originally, then having to abandon stream anyway because I was headed to QuakeCon, then abandon stream for another week because my aunt was in town, and I'm giving you guys the details of how that went. And then one more week, my production was still broken, so just had to not stream for yet another week. But yeah, here I'm kind of back, and I don't know what I'm doing today, so I'm just kind of giving the updates on how it all went. So Skydeck was where we went, and then the next famous Italian dish, or the next famous Chicago dish that I decided to have her experience, and it was my first experience with this dish too, is the Italian beef from Al's, which is just a roast beef sandwich and a bunch of pickled veggies on top, mostly peppers, mostly there's some pickled onions on there, I want to say. There's some cauliflower. So there's the Italian beef, and being honest with you, I think I already said this, it was my first time experiencing the Italian beef myself. And I gotta tell you, I fell in love. I'm loving the Italian beef. Oh, looks like there's some celery. That looks like some celery on there. Some roasted peppers, and it's all pickled, and it's incredible. Look up whatever that topping is. I don't know what's all in it. Giardianera, I think is how you pronounce that, and I put that in both chats on YouTube and on Twitch. Oh man, it's incredible. Now I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. And I just ate, y'all. I'm fucking myself up over here. We went to Al's Beef. Just had a day of it. Hang on, let me pull that back just a little bit. Architecture boat tour. Chicago. So, not that boat. What is the... I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. So the next day, we decided to go ahead and go on an architecture river tour. So you go down Chicago River, and then you see, and then flanked on both sides of the Chicago River, you get to see all the tall buildings, and you know, here you go. Here's how it goes. There's the Navy Pier, or you can go from, I think this is Michigan Avenue is where we started, and then they just give you the tour and show you all of the historic buildings. Like, oh, this is Sears Tower. It's legally Willis Tower, but it's Sears Tower. Used to be the tallest building on the planet. Now it's like the Burj Khalifa. Then, you know, you get to see, like, there's a couple buildings. There's no pictures here, which is kind of unfortunate. Is there an about us? FAQs? No? So, not quite. But, what if I play this? Can I play it? Can I full screen? Oh yeah, there you go. So you get to see, like, the architecture, and there's a guy on a bullhorn giving you the you know, the preview. Like, here's all the historical context of why a lot of these buildings got built this way. Like, here's brutalism, here's impressionism. There was a building. Oh, there was one. Is there a... Can I track that video? No, I can't. But one of those buildings, and I think I can... I'll see if I can pause it when we get to it. There's like some wild round parking lot buildings, which was kind of weird. You know, there's like an art style, and I forgot the name of it. I think it's Impressionism. That for the purposes of architecture, there's a lot of like vertical lines going through the buildings, and then they're going to be dotted with windows. Oh, there's the first ad break. I guess we're going to be back for ads in just a second. It's a good opportunity to take a short moment. I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, looks like we're back. Nobody missed me too much. So I guess we can get back to talking about this architecture tour. So there was a lot of like design principles. There was a lot of... So one thing that's actually... Oh, we just missed it. There was one building that was actually really neat. That was the map of the Chicago train lines. Let's see if I can pause at the right time here. There's a little bit of a spot. So we got the bridges. They get up and retract. The old post office was there. Or was on the tour. Let's see. It's probably coming up here in a second. This building right here, actually. Can we... So this building right here, this is actually kind of... This is the map of Chicago. The highways and the trains, and I'm pretty sure that's the Chicago River itself. And a little red dot there as a sort of "you are here" indicator, and I thought that was real neat from a design perspective. And there's a lot missing from that video. Like it was a good hour and a half tour of sort of the architecture that flanks the Chicago River, and it was a real good time. Oh boy, let's see. So what else was there? We got let me turn that off. Let's see, Lou Malnati's. And then this was kind of like our night one to demonstrate. That's a little bit of it. It's kind of like a tavern thin, but it's still cut into triangles. Tavern thin is cut into squares. So this right here, this is the Chicago deep dish, and that was the first thing she wanted to try. It's like, that's the famous, you got to try the famous Chicago deep dish pizza. And oh man, I was incredibly lucky that over the course of the week that I was entertaining my aunt, I actually managed to maintain the weight I had rather than just keep gaining more and more and more. I've already been over gaining 10 pounds while I was at QuakeCon. I was weighing in every couple of days just to make sure. Thankfully, I was able to maintain within like 2 or 3 pounds of what I came back from QuakeCon with. But as I mentioned before, I'm already shed all of that weight back off. Back on the journey, back on the grind. Already back down to a new all-time low on my weight. Doing well at the gym. So, after all of that, what am I going to do? What do I want to do with stream now that I'm back from vacation? Now that I am kind of like just solidly back into doing work. I know on some level I want to get back to development. I don't know that I feel like doing it today. I probably could, but it is getting kind of late. I think I'm going to do a little bit of a shorter stream this evening. Mostly because I'm also still sore because I went to the gym yesterday. And I am not feeling my best right now. Kind of went hard on... Where is it? Did I post it on Twitter? No. I did not. Okay, so I didn't post my latest lift log on Twitter. But it was a lot of shoulders, a lot of lats, a lot of not necessarily arms, but upper body. Like some seated rows and all of that. And I'm really feeling it today. So now that I'm back, I think I want to start planning on how I want to go forward with streams. My next update, some of you who know me know that I'm actually a big fan of the VTubers, the virtual tubemen, the cartoon people. To give a small update, I've actually been talking with an artist myself, speaking on, like, hey, dude, what do we want to do on getting like a character design made? And actually, I might be getting my character design back here in the next, finalized here in the next couple of days. That'll be fun. That's still a ways off from having a completely modeled cartoon character that we can actually deploy, and I can actually give you guys something that, you know, I keep saying the meme of a pair of eyes and a mouth, so that I'm not an entirely disembodied voice that barely exists. Yes, in some ways, a wacky wavy virtual tubeman. But yeah, the character, been keeping up with the artist. He's been the artist, I don't know if he cares about being named or not, so I'm going to kind of hold off on naming the artist for now. He'll probably post the finalized piece on Twitter once he's done and name me in the thing. Once that's done, I'll have to go and figure out about not only going from character concept to seeing if I can shop around for someone who can turn that into a model, or at least a set of art assets that could become a rigged model. Because nowadays there's the character concept, there's the actual model, and then you run into, after that, you get the model rigged up to throw into your VTuber program of choice. Some progress is going on that front. I'm pretty happy with it, and happy especially with the artist. You know, not to talk shit, but artists have this tendency to. I think a friend of mine once said, when you're working with an artist, a deadline is a rough suggestion rather than anything hard. And deadlines are never hard deadlines when you're working with an artist. Oh yeah. But he's been very communicative anytime he's needed some extra time. He's been putting up with a lot of the bullshit that I say, putting in some like weird requests. He's been very receptive to the requests I make. And so that's moving forward, and I'm pretty happy with where it's going right now. What else is there as far as updates? So there's software projects. There's Scarbot, which I kind of left in a weird state because I didn't want to have to. I wasn't ready for the work ahead of me that was getting emotes working, which would probably include downloading emotes and storing them on disk. I'm gonna look up actually Python temporary files library. Generate temporary files and directories. Maybe this is the oh god. Okay. Maybe this is the thing I've been looking for. So if we create a thing of temporary files, we can. So what happens if let's libtemp file. And this is agnostic to. Let's see, is temp file agnostic to operating system? Does it only work in Unix? Hello. Creates temporary files and directories. It works on all supported platforms. Okay, that's good. So it should work, in theory at least, on Windows. So either, no wait, because there is no either. I need to be storing storing these emotes as actual files somewhere, because otherwise they just won't display. The PySide 6 library I'm using for the web view, it really doesn't like using, if you're using the image tag in PySide 6's web view, it doesn't like actually pulling down network assets. It really wants locally stored. So I think that's my solution, is either temporary files, or maybe all of the emotes are stored permanently inside of like a database. But first off, I need to have a prototype to get that working. The other project I have in mind right now is actually the hardware project Medij. Wanting to get the Medij project up and going, the volume control for streaming, using MIDI controls rather than direct OBS stuff that requires an actual server. Beyond that, I don't know if there's any necessarily projects. As far as games are concerned, I think I'm kind of done with Final Fantasy XIV. And I haven't played Final Fantasy XIV at all in a couple weeks. I think I've gone over this on stream, in this stream like a little bit ago. I'm finding myself not necessarily feeling up to playing Final Fantasy XIV all that often these days. I think I broke the habit when I went to QuakeCon and I played a lot more Street Fighter and a lot more Quake. So you may end up seeing me play some fighting games a lot. Street Fighter definitely on the menu. There's some of those old, we used to call them poverty fighters back in 09, but like the Dojin anime-y fighters, the Under Knights, the Melty Bloods, the Idol Showdown. Why not Idol Showdown, right? Although I don't know if I'll play Idol Showdown. There's a limit. I have limits. But yeah, definitely some Street Fighter, possibly some Tekken. Maybe a good excuse to learn some Tekken. I kind of want to learn to play Under Night. Under Night seems like a good game. Give me a good excuse to get back into that scene. I know I want to do Factorio. I do know for a fact I want to do Factorio when that comes out. The new expansion for Factorio. Oh man, do I feel like I'm ready to start moving into more than one stream planned per week? Maybe I do start taking the stream a little bit more seriously and really digging deep in on it. But yeah, for now, my voice is actually kind of going out on me, so I think I actually might want to call it early. Let me see, what do we have? If we want to raid anybody right now, if there's anybody online. It is Enigma's birthday. Fasani's live. Is she still doing her? Is Fasani still doing her her subathon? Fasani's trying to raise money. Oh, Maple's back. Convince myself to get back into streaming, especially with fixing your OBS volume. Oh man. That's been kind of like, that is half the reason I have been gone for so long. Like, as soon as I was done, you were designing logos. That's no problem, Maple. You do you. Don't let me distract you too much from your work. Part of me is feeling like it might be time to wrap up the stream because my throat's starting to give out on me. Maybe I just need to drink more. Or maybe part of it is my throat's giving out, and part of it is I really feel like I'm kind of running out of content right now. as I describe the kinds of content that I kind of want to try and get into over the course of the next few months. I've described that I've gone over the VTuber stuff. I've got my VTuber character concept, the concept is nearly complete. Any Final Fantasy streams soon? Probably not, actually. I did Final Fantasy for the MSQ. Completed the MSQ. There's a couple of friends of mine, some circles I run in. There's some whispers of maybe doing a post MSQ spoiler podcast thing where we all basically kind of discuss what the MSQ is like, and things we liked, things we disliked, probably a lot of things we disliked, because it sounds like there's not, it wasn't the best experience for kind of anybody. Kind of sort through feelings on it. I've had a lot of thoughts on Dawn Trail now that it's done, and ever since QuakeCon, I almost feel like I broke the habit of Final Fantasy. Kind of became a habit for me, and I'll log in to Final Fantasy for 10-15 minutes, realize I'm kind of not actually up for playing Final Fantasy today, and I'll log out. I don't know if that's, am I that displeased with the game, or is it like, I've kind of broken my habit of feeling like I need to play for my daily stuff. But there's a lot of, did you like Dawn Trail? Overall thoughts? I feel like there was good intent. There was something there. I feel like the first half of Dawn Trail should have been patch content for Endwalker. And then the second half of Dawn Trail should have been actual Dawn Trail. That's my immediate thoughts. I think it is very clear that the writers, that whoever the head writer is now, had a very much favorite character, and it shows. Which is not always a bad thing. But when a writer has a favorite character and it's that obvious and it shows that much, you run into problems when the writer's favorite character may not necessarily be the audience's favorite character. I might hold my tongue a little bit just to see if that post MSQ spoiler podcast materializes, and I'll see if I can weasel my way into being on that podcast. So I do want to hold my tongue a little bit on that. But ever since QuakeCon, I've actually had a little bit more fire to get back into fighting games, to get back into Factorio. Because Factorio's didn't even finish Dawn Trail because of lack of interest. So where did you end up getting? I know you watched my stream, and I know you watched Galleycat's stream, so spoilers are no problem for you. If anyone else, close your ears for like maybe the next 30 seconds. Where did you end up getting, Maple? Level 97? So you are in Solution 9 then. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lot, like there was clearly good intent there. There's a kernel of really good storytelling in there. I think Majin, when you were there, like you kind of saw me turn around once, and it's like, okay, I like what they were doing, what they were trying to do thematically with what Dawn Trail is, and Sphène's story and Sphène's arc. And Sphène is kind of the mirror image and the response to Meteion. I think that was a really good choice to go with financially, thematically. But I think they didn't quite execute in the way they thought was the best way to go about it. So, like, and even if you go watch other streamers, I think it was kind of entertaining to see people go back and forth on their feelings on the writer's favorite character, to go back and forth on the pacing, to go back and forth on how the story was progressing. I think ultimately, unfortunately, I want to say my opinion on Final Fantasy Dawntrail is net negative. I lean thumbs down on it. Some of the stuff that gets said on Twitter by certain members of the cast is also kind of like weirding me out in odd ways. Like, everyone understands that song was probably not the best thing to use in at least 2 of the cutscenes it was in. And then one of the cast members decided to make comments on Twitter that were like, why would you make that statement? That makes no sense. So, separating art from artist as much as you can, it was still left a negative taste in my mouth. But ever since QuakeCon, I've been really hankering to get back into fighting games again. So you might see Street Fighter. You could see Tekken. So I have no idea how to play Tekken. I do see that there's that French character with the suit. Victor, I think his name is. Man, he's just looks like such a fucking badass. So I might get into Tekken to learn how to play some Victor. Other fighting games that I'm a big fan of right now, Melty Blood, and Under Night. Might end up playing some of those on stream. You might see software projects. You might see hardware projects. In fact, I would tell you to expect to see hardware and software. After letting it, definitely wasn't on the same level as the last 3 expansions. Oh, not the last 3, because you're including Heavenward. That we're now the Oron of 14, and we're taking a back seat for an expansion or 2. Smile was okay. No real further thoughts on it. Some programming. I mean, you do see on the screen, if you actually are looking at the screen. I didn't do anything today, but definitely software projects is on the docket. I do want to consider that my main, like, that is, my full intent is that will be my main content. But I also don't want to neglect Vigima games too much. You know, QuakeCon really lit a fire under my ass that I do still feel like I want to try and see if I still got it a little bit, which, you know, at QuakeCon, there was only really one player who was able to beat me consistently at Street Fighter, and that was this Lily player that I never got the name of. I think I must have run like 30 to 40 sets with that dude, and part of that's the matchup. So when is Marvel? So funny story. I'm sure you've seen it though. When does the Marvel 2 collection, Marvel vs. Capcom collection? We have a release date on that. Granted, I didn't play any of the Marvel games. Digital version September 12th. So what games are all in that collection? So there's Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, XVSF, MSH VSF, MVC 1, and MVC 2. Okay. And that said, I will say that the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a level of degeneracy that I don't think I want to even try to penetrate. Like, that game has so much history. It's one thing when a game has history. It's another thing when a game has history and degeneracy. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Lythero or Max. Oh, there's very few people as good as Lythero or Max. I am eager to see that Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Oh, which one is that? Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Where is that? Here we go. Coming 2025. So that is... So that's CVS Pro, CVS 2, Capcom Fighting Jam, which, you know, like... I saw a tweet. It's like, we're not playing revisionist history on Capcom Fighting Jam. Like, y'all wanted to try and just rediscover SVC Chaos. SNK versus Capcom Chaos. And that's fine. You do you. But we're not playing revisionist history. This game is ass. Now, Capcom Fighting Jam, I never got my hands on myself. I only ever started playing fighting games for real, in 09 when Street Fighter 4 came out. We'll say I'm an 08er. When GGPO.net released, I played a lot of Alpha 2. I started playing Alpha 2 seriously, and then very soon after Alpha 2, GGPO, I started playing Street Fighter 4, and that was kind of like my entry. Alpha 3 Upper, I think Alpha 3 Upper is an interesting choice, considering, like, most people actually just play Alpha 3. I haven't really seen a lot of demand for specifically Alpha 3 Upper. Power Stone 1 and 2, I know, there have been fucking diehards that have been screaming to try and get Power Stone. Either ported, HD remade, or whatever. I retweeted, I think, a Kenny Unruly, Max's friend, just absolutely losing his shit on seeing Power Stone get announced for this collection. I'm eager to get my hand. I just want to know. With Capcom Fighting Jam, I feel like I have to know for myself. I don't want to. I'm willing to trust that it's not a great game. Because the funny part is, like, everyone's reaction was like, "Oh shit, CVS 1 Pro. Oh fuck, CVS 2. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Okay, Capcom Fighting Jam. Never mind. I guess it's there." And then, oh god, Alpha 3 Upper. And then people just died seeing Power Stone. Like, entire populations of cities saw Power Stone was about to come out, and they just ascended to the next plane of existence. And then, Fighting Jam showed up, and they're like, whatever. I guess it's good it's there. And for me, I'm like, I just want to know. I just want to know for myself. But I am eager to get my hands, because SNK CVS 2 is a game I also never got my hands on. Can I zoom in? No, I cannot. Power Stone got a re-release before Dino Crisis. Oh yeah, Dino Crisis. Resident Evil with dinosaurs. I do remember that. I never got... I played the demo for Dino Crisis a couple years ago. But yeah, expect fighting games. Expect maybe some of these Capcom Fighting Collection stuff. Expect Street Fighter 6. Expect Factorio. I'm going to be getting into Factorio now that Space Age is coming out in October. Eager to see where factories end up on that. But yeah, absolutely main content is going to be software and hardware development. We're still talking about it. Gets mad salty that older REs have been getting remakes. I mean, part of that I have to imagine might be... Do you think there's any, like, licensing issue there? Because I don't think they haven't even talked about touching that game. And that kind of screams to me that there might be, like, some rights issues happening. Like, we don't know who owns this IP kind of stuff. Like, the Eureka fighting game. I forgot what the Eureka fighting game is called. And then they finally announced, like, No, like the series is both series have gone so long without really. Both Capcom and Eureka have gone so long without even acknowledging that Skullomania existed. And then he shows up in an Eureka game. It's like, okay, so Skullomania is owned by Eureka, not Capcom. But yeah, I'd be interested to see Dino Crisis. What was that game that came out like a year or two ago? That was kind of like Dino Crisis but far future, and it was kind of like Warframe almost. Oh, what was that game? Capcom owns the IP rights. Oh, what was Dino something? Capcom Dino game. There's a Exoprimal. That's the name of this fucking thing. So Exoprimal is like Warframe but dinosaurs, and there was like a certain at some point I just remember seeing a black hole. It's not a black hole because it's like it has more gravity, sucks things in, but it was like just this hole in the sky, and it would start vomiting forth velociraptors. And I was like, that's actually kind of neat. Ooh, Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is a game that we could look in, that I could look into. Hang on. Monster Hunter Wilds. That's on its way. 2025. Do we have a release date on that? Bust out the charge blade. See if that was. See if I still got it. Got my charge blade ready to go. Oh, if you've got save data for World and Iceborne, you get little suits for your little kitty there. I find it interesting that we're not getting the dog back from Rise. That's really interesting. I guess the dog didn't get as wasn't as well loved as I actually enjoyed the dog. So characters. Who are our characters today on this? We have the Hunter, which I guess is the player character. Palico. Alma, she's going to be our handler. Okay. Why does she look familiar? Like, I feel like I've seen her model. Like, I know she's not a character that's been in a game before. There's Gemma. So she's going to be the blacksmith of the crew. Weapon and armor crafting needs. Okay. Nata. A young boy that accompanies you on your journey. And we're going to be very specifically non-specific about this character because he is going to turn into Chekhov's gun halfway into the game. He's going to be very important to the story, but we're not going to tell you that yet. Hammer wielding member Olivia of the Hunters Guild Forbidden Lands Expedition Team. So I should probably look into what the charge blade stuff looks like. We got Athos. Oh, it's like the Meowscular chef. Except he's not a chef. He's just like a fucking jacked Palico. Yeah, I've been kind of like ignoring Wilds a little bit. But secretly I've been... Oh, wait, is that a slinger? Does she have a slinger? That's a world thing. Actually, so yeah, he would have one too. So are we bringing back slingers? That'll be interesting if we do. We probably are bringing back slingers. Anyway. Let's see. Yeah, probably expect some Monster Hunter. Definitely expect Street Fighter. Definitely expect Factorio. Probably expect Monster Hunter. But I will keep saying my main content is going to end up being engineering and kind of an education focused and co-working kind of thing. Probably be a little bit boring for some people out there, but hopefully it goes well. But yeah, where's the... I'm coming up on 2 hours. I do want to appreciate everybody stopping by. I think I'm just now at the point. I think my voice is starting to properly give out. So let me see if I can find someone to send you guys to. You know what? Enigma's also kind of a returning on a little bit of a return story. And it's Enigma's birthday, August 28th. So, hey, why not? I'm going to send you guys over to an eternal Enigma. Hope you guys enjoy your time over there. /raid. An eternal Enigma. There we go. All right. I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I hope everybody has a good evening, and I will see you again soon.